All right, hey guys, Christian from Shot Super Films back here again today. This time with David, we are doing our first ever Movie Talk podcast. And go ahead and say hi, David.
Hi.
All right, so basically, we will just be talking about anything film related in these podcasts, along with our opinions on all of those topics. And these will get uploaded on the first Thursday of every month, so you guys will be able to look forward to that every month. And before we begin, don't forget to check out all the links in the description below for all of our social media sites and our short films, along with the link to this playlist so you can find future episodes, and a link to David's channel. So go show him some love, does some great content.
Really quick, regarding that, I'm actually going to be taking a break. I'm going to be turning my channel more into like kind of what Shadow Sniper does. More just films and things along that nature. I'll also be doing like product reviews, but other than that, it's not really what it's been for a while, so everything's going to really change. So expect maybe another month of inactivity, and then everything should go back.
Yep, so anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Be sure to stay until the end to hear about our short film of the month by a student or indie filmmaker for you to go check out. So before we actually get into the real show, I just want to let you guys know that we will take questions from the audience or any statements that you have, and during each show, and we'll answer them as best as we can before we actually get into the real part of the show, 2 to 3 at a time at the most. So be thinking of any questions you might have to ask us, post those down in the comments, and we'll get to them next time. So anyways, let's go ahead and start off here with our podcast. Our very first segment, we're just going to be talking about our favorite movies. So our top 3, we're going to give them in order of least to favorite. We're going to explain why in each, and then give our opinion on each of those movies and get them from the other person as well. So would you like to go first, David, or would you like me to go?
So I'll go first.
All right.
Yeah, that's tough. I'd have to say my number 3 probably most likely has to be Fast and Furious, the last one that Paul Walker was in. Not necessarily because of him, but I just found that one my favorite. I'm not sure why. I was never really a Fast and Furious fan. I saw the one before that, but then I don't know. To me, it's just I can't really explain it. You'd have to watch it to kind of understand what I'm trying to get at. It's just different from all the other ones. I mean, and this new one's pretty good too, but I still like that last one. But I think it's 7. I believe it's 7.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, see, I myself, I grew up on the original Fast and Furious, like 1 and 2, and then kind of Tokyo Drift. So I was like always a fan of that growing up, and then the newer ones kind of disappointed me because they kind of steered away from cars, honestly. Like, they started going more to, like, all these crazy things, like, scenarios, and I'm just like, all right, cool. And then Paul Walker died, and I'm like, oh, that's just sad. So, yeah, like, 1 and 2 were probably my favorite, and only 2 really just because of the cars that they had in it, but, I mean, I don't know. It was fun. I'll admit, Fast and Furious 7 was still pretty fun and very action-packed, but it just didn't feel like Fast and Furious to me anymore, honestly. They've just kind of been dragging it on too long.
My number 2, just because it doesn't even come close to my number 1, but there's a lot of other movies that I like. I think something maybe like Princess Bride, and that's just because I've always liked that movie as a kid.
Oh my god, that is that's a great
movie. And it's just a classic for me. I mean, I always love watching it just because it's so funny, and as you get older, it's like, oh, I never noticed this, or oh, I understand that now, and I don't know. It's always fun every time you watch it.
And then Inigo Montoya was like so awesome.
It was. It's so amazing. I mean, if you guys have not seen that movie, I totally recommend.
Honestly, I preferred that over friggin' Monty Python: The Holy Grail. Like, Monty Python was a letdown.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely prefer that. And then my number 1, a lot of you probably already know this, but you don't know which one. I'd have to say mine is Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. And that's usually the case with a lot of Star Wars fans. But for me, it wasn't even the first one that I saw. The first one that I saw was Return of the Jedi, which is episode 6. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. And then I saw A New Hope, and then I saw the prequels, and then I saw Empire last. But to me, Empire had the most like impact on the story and on the characters, and I don't know. To me, it's the most well-developed one, and to me it seems like the one that had the most thought put into it, because the original Star Wars was made just on a wing. Like, he didn't think it was going to be successful, so there's things that could have been fixed. I'm criticizing Star Wars on the internet. I'm gonna get killed.
Well, you're on my channel, so
And then Return of the Jedi, it's the least favorite of the original trilogy. I still love it just because of the ending, redemption of Darth Vader, whatever. But Empire is just, it has a nice dark setting, but it's not too dark to where like only, adults can watch it. Everyone can watch it. It has a just great story, great dialogue. It's not cheesy Star Wars. I mean, you got the cheesy Star Wars stuff in it, but it's not meant to be cheesy, and that's what I like about it. And I don't know, to me the soundtrack also just, it captivates me. John Williams is just probably my favorite composer of all time, just in terms of like movie music. He's just amazing. I don't know how he comes up with these themes. It's really cool.
So I mean, you think you're bad for criticizing Star Wars on the internet? Well, I'm gonna kind of one up here a little bit, but I'm gonna say that or admit that I actually myself never really cared all that much for the Star Wars universe, and I know there's probably gonna be a lot of people, like anybody that's watching this far is probably gonna be like smashing in the comments like Star Wars was amazing, and I'm just sitting here like I don't know. I never really caught on to it, I guess. And well, that's because I didn't really grow up with the full set either. The only one my parents have ever owned is Episode 3, which was
Uh-huh.
pretty fun. I watched the original trilogy all the way through. I borrowed it from my uncle and I watched it once, and I don't know, I just did not enjoy it all that much. Honestly,
I mean, yeah,
I
it's
kind of found it dry, but I guess it's one
like,
of those things where it's like you have to grow up with it to be like a true
well,
just
yeah,
fan of it.
like it doesn't matter which one you really grow up with, as long as grow up with them and you get into it. I mean, you either like Star Wars or you don't. It's just you can't be in the middle. Be like, about it.
Well, and it's like also because my dad used to use like a scene from Episode 3 to like set up his TV and get like all the settings the way he wanted it, because he knew exactly how it's supposed to look. So he would always use that one scene to set up the TV, and I'm just sitting there like bored the whole time. So I guess I kind of associated with that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just, once again, I was never really a huge fan of Star Wars. The games were meh. I didn't really play many of
Yeah,
them,
most
but
of the games that LucasArts had made weren't really that good. There are a couple exceptions, and that's also because I grew up with them, and they're not necessarily great games in terms of, mechanics and whatnot.
yeah.
But they're great games to just have fun for like an hour or whatever. And the new one, Force Awakens, I liked it. It's not the best. Rogue One, I liked it a lot just because it reminded me of the original one, and it had a lot darker tone. But this new, really quick, just getting off topic, this new one that's coming out, I'm really hoping that it is like Empire Strikes Back. And I don't understand why people don't want continuity and sort of a ring. For me, I love how when stories are retold, but just with new characters. I don't understand why people don't like that. It's a new generation, keeping some old characters in while at the same time, telling that old same story of, the hero or heroine is going to go train or, find who they are, go save their friends and, fight a bad guy, whatever, and either lose and find out something terrible, or, that to me, that I feel like that's not a bad thing that it's reused and being told differently, but that's me personally.
See, and yeah, I watched The Force Awakens. I actually went to theaters for it, and I feel bad for my friend because his mom paid to get me in there, and I was severely disappointed by Disney's work. I was not a huge fan of that movie, and Rogue One, I got about 15 minutes into and slept through the rest of the movie. And I woke up a couple of times and caught glimpses of all these scenes, and I was not all too impressed with it. I don't know. Disney, I don't know. I just cannot back them on
I
doing Star
feel
Wars in
like
all honesty, but
I feel like for them, the problem with them right now is they're not getting, because they're Kathleen Kennedy isn't the one making. They're not hiring these I'm not gonna say professional. They're not hiring these directors that know how to handle Star Wars. J.J. Abrams, directed the complete rival of Star Wars, and a lot of people were gonna bash him for making Episode 7, and I personally just like it because it's a Return of Star Wars, but as an actual movie and criticizing it, I probably give it maybe a 4 or a 5, just because I like the soundtrack that really boosts it up a lot, and it's Star Wars for me that also boosts it up. Rogue One, the first hour of the movie, I hate it. I really do. It's so slow, and I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to explain all this, but it's so hard to explain a person's backstory as well as having the plans for the Death Star and how they got it explaining that in what 2 hours and like 10 minutes. That's crazy. You can't do all that in 2 hours and 10 minutes effectively. But that's just what I thought about it. But anyway,
Yeah. I guess I should probably move on to my three movies, or my top three. So, my number three pick has to be the first Saw movie, just because it was like, I don't know, it was just so intriguing. And I love all the Saw movies, to be honest, but Saw 1 was my absolute favorite because of the fact that it was just like the one pair of guys, and it was such a brain teaser, and it got you thinking, and it was just all sorts of messed up and grotesque and just kind of, opened your eyes to like all this weird stuff. And I don't know, it was just really cool. I loved the movie. Once again, I loved all of them, and I'm actually really excited for Saw 8, but I'll talk about that later. But yeah, no, and I loved the actors. The actors were really good in that one. And once again, the story itself kind of revealed in that first movie and then continued on through the rest and just kind of kept building and getting better and better. Did you ever see that one?
I did see Saw 1, and I thought it was, from a movie perspective, I thought it was good. But me personally, I'm not one to be into those horror type movies. I mean, there are some that intrigue me. Like Saw did intrigue me. I did like it because it's something I never saw before or had seen before. And it was really new, and I didn't get, I don't get scared or anything, but it just, to me, I don't like that, disturbing sense, but that one was an exception for me because I don't know. I kind of understand what you're getting at it. To me, it's just, it's a cool movie.
Yeah.
And the later ones were just, they got kind of repetitive. And
that's
what
true.
I was like, okay.
I will give a fair warning on the rest of my list, though. The entire thing is horror/thriller movies because that is like my absolute favorite genre of all time, and like I can watch so many good movies out of that genre. Like, it's not even crazy. And I've watched
I mean, for me,
many.
it depends on it too. Like, I don't like the genre as a whole, but I like certain movies within that genre. So it usually just depends.
Well, and it kind of makes me mad too because a lot of the movies that are coming out nowadays aren't even that good. It's like nobody gives enough attention to the genre anymore, so it kind of just falls apart, and you have to rely on the good old horror movies. But
yeah, I think that's the difference too with me is when I think of these horror movies, I think of the newer ones. I don't really think of them.
Yeah, the newer ones mostly suck. You find the couple good ones here and there, like I found one recently. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, continuing on my list, my second pick was actually Memento. And oh my god, did that movie mess with your brain. And if you guys haven't seen that, definitely go look it up and watch it. It was such a good movie. One that just, it really baffled your brain. And by the end of it, it just kind of left you wondering, like, what did I just watch? But at the same time, you're just like, oh my god, I love that so much. And it was such a great story, and like, once again, so weird. It just really messes your brain. And I don't know, I just love those movies. Just the movies that make you think and kind of just confuse you in the end. It's just a lot of fun to go through that experience, in all honesty. Did you ever watch that one?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh yeah, you definitely should. And I would recommend actually watching it the way it's intended to be, because there's like a code on some DVD copies that you can enter in so you can watch it like the reverse order. I would have to go through and explain the entire thing, but it would take me a long time. So we'll just move on to my first pick, which is going to be Night of the Living Dead by George A. Romero. Absolute favorite movie. Not just because of the fact, but mostly because of the fact that that was the predecessor to all modern day zombie movies, like Resident Evil, Zombieland, any zombie movie you could think of. Night of the Living Dead was the predecessor, and George A. Romero did such a great job with it. I'll admit that his following movies were not always the best. Diary of the Dead was great, but some of his other ones, like Dawn of the Dead, weren't necessarily. Was it Dawn of the Dead? I can't remember. There were other ones that he did too that weren't necessarily the best, but Night of the Living Dead was so good. Classic black and white, pretty good acting, and once again, just that introduction of zombies was like a huge seller for me, and I don't know, I love George A. Romero. He's so much fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. Night of the Living Dead just totally set the standard for zombie movies, pretty much, and even almost horror movies in general. Like, it is such a good movie.
Hey, see, I was so trying to decide between having that as my first pick or Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock, because they're both such great movies, but it's like I can pick apart Psycho so much more than I can Night of the Living Dead, and that's probably why I did Night of the Living Dead. So there's like so many things I noticed in Psycho that just kind of bug me, and so And Night of the Living Dead, once again, I'm just a huge zombie fan. And the fact that he just basically created that entire generation that lasted for like a decade was awesome.
Yeah.
Until World War Z. World War Z, I just, did not like that.
Yeah, I actually, it was like a year ago. I had seen it for the first time, and I was like, what on earth?
Yeah, their idea of zombies was so bad, I wanted to cry.
I mean, no one's gonna survive that. So what kind of story can you tell from that?
I
Like,
mean, yeah.
honestly.
Well, there's an entire book on it too, and like the movie is actually only like one chapter from the book. The book
What?
is yeah, the book is supposed to be like several different stories around the world of this apocalypse, and they just took one and made that new movie.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
So that's
that's
probably
even
why it
worse.
turned out so bad. The book is probably a lot better. Still, like people turning into zombies in 7 seconds, like why? Why? I just, oh my god, I had so many problems with like the story of it and like the science of it, and it all drove me nuts.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I don't tend to like a lot of zombie stuff. The only ones that I do like, as I said, Night of the Living Dead and Walking Dead. I don't like Fear the Walking Dead just because I feel like they're just trying to tell it a different way, and I don't really
Mm-hmm.
because they're doing fine with Walking Dead. I don't see a need to do Fear. Everything else, most other zombie stuff just doesn't appeal to me. Mostly either because it's super cheesy or they try to explain things and it just doesn't make, like for Walking Dead when they don't explain where the virus comes from, and that is what I like. I don't want them to explain it. I just want to know what happens to the characters and who dies, who survives, and what
You
happens. I
see,
could care less
I
about.
myself don't care for Walking Dead anymore. And I know I'm probably gonna piss off the internet again for this. I just don't like The Walking Dead. Like after the second season, I hated it and I stopped watching it because it's like if you even look at it, like if you look at it anywhere on the internet or like on Netflix or anywhere, it is classified as a drama. And once I found that out, I could picture it as nothing else. Like it's all human interaction with like zombies just kind of being there, and I don't like that. Like they honestly, it's another one of those things where they're dragging it on for too long. Kind of like Supernatural. I'm not gonna. I still like Supernatural, kind of. Like I'm on season 8 right now, but it's getting to the point where it's just like, come on, just end it already. Like seriously,
Yeah,
they don't need to keep going. They could have ended it after
they're still
season
going with
3 and been
Supernatural.
perfect. Yeah, they're making a season 13 right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it was supposed to end on season 6 too. That's the worst part.
Yeah, no, that's when I stopped watching was season 6 because I thought it ended. I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, no, The Walking Dead, oh my god, I don't really like it anymore. Especially after the one guy at the prison, I can't remember his name, that had the eye patch.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I didn't. Oh my god, I couldn't get through it. It was so bad.
All right.
So
Anyway,
so that's the favorite movie segment. So let's go ahead and move on to the new movie that we are most excited for. So,
yeah,
should I go first on this one since you went first last time?
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So this year, I'm just gonna go for the year of 2017 because why not? So I'm most excited for Saw 8 right now, as I kind of mentioned earlier. It's also known as Saw Legacy, and like part of why I'm so excited for this. Actually, wait, did I need to? Yeah. So I need to kind of describe the basic idea of this first. So if you guys haven't seen the Saw series, you should to get the whole backstory to it. But basically, it's just continuing from where Saw 7 left off. Because you see, like the very end of it, like Gordon from the very first movie becomes Jigsaw, and it's like him just carrying off in Jigsaw's footsteps. And I am so excited to see what they do with this. Both with him being the new Jigsaw and like, I really want to see it. And it's actually supposed to be released on October 27th in theaters this year. I'm gonna try to go to it as best I can. Because, oh my god, I've been so hyped to see this for years. Like, as soon as I finished Saw 7, I'm like, oh my god, they need to make another one. They need to make another one. And boom, here it is. It's like, I have been anticipating this for so many years. It's finally here, and I am really going to try hard to watch it. I will skip homework. I will skip work. I will skip anything to go see this movie. And I wanted to do that with the new Resident Evil movie, too, but apparently I missed that. I didn't realize that was last year. I thought it was supposed to be this year. But
I hadn't seen it.
yeah, so that, like I said, that's the one that I'm really excited for, and once again, if you guys haven't seen any of the Saw movies, I do recommend it. It is so much fun.
For me, I don't know. I haven't really looked at many movies coming out from ones that I haven't seen. that are like years away.
I mean, you could just like name one that you're like excited for in sometime in the near future, like next few
Yeah.
years or something, like that Star Wars one you were talking about earlier, the next one that they're coming out with.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick that one.
All right.
For me, I was kind of rambling on about it earlier, but I can get into more detail now. Is I want them to use. I'm excited because I want to see, because this is a new director. It's not J.J. Abrams, thank God. And this director, he has a good rep. Actually, I had a thing on him really quick. Let me pull it up. Okay, so Ryan Johnson is the director for the movie. He went to USC. He won the Special Jury Prize for Originality of Vision and the Sundance Film Festival for his film Brick. He did The Brothers Bloom, Looper, and Evil Demon Golf Ball. Now, a lot of these movies aren't really known, but I did take a look at Brothers Bloom and Looper, and I thought they were pretty decent movies for, not being known as they are. And I thought, okay, this guy definitely has potential. And since this guy is not heavily influenced, like a lot of other directors are, I think that's also good. Because the problem with like J.J. Abrams was he took too much of what people wanted him to do, and he just, I don't know. There's a lot of things that he did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Gareth Edwards, that did Rogue One, he did it to where he wanted to please the fans, yes, but he kind of just dissed them almost and was like, okay, I'm gonna do what I want, and you're just gonna have to listen to it. But with this guy, he hasn't really done anything or said anything that ticks me off, which is a good thing. But I just, like I said earlier, I want them to reuse the Empire formula of, the heroine, which looks like what they're doing is the heroine, which is going to be Rey, goes, she finds Luke, which, because this movie takes place like 3 months after, apparently, or it starts like immediately after, like 15 minutes after. But she trains with Luke, she learns all these secrets, and it's like, whoa, this is badass. And then she goes to fight Kylo Ren, and then whatever happens is, maybe Finn and Poe, they get fucked, or what's her face, Leia gets killed, because with the recent death of Carrie Fisher, that really changed how they were going to do Star Wars, because she had not begun filming on episode 9, and she was supposed to be in it, but with her passing, it really affected that. So I'm also curious to see how they will play off Carrie Fisher's passing. I'm expecting something along the lines of, Leia is trying to convince, Kylo Ren to come back, just like Han Solo did or whatever, and then she gets in a ship or something and then like blows up. I don't know. They're gonna have to kill her off, like off screen. That's the only way I can see that happening, unless they had like a scenario where she was gonna die anyway, and they had it as a backup. I have no idea what they're doing. But going back to the why I'm excited for it, also soundtrack as well. John Williams is doing it again. No matter how bad the movie is, he always just has a good soundtrack that puts a smile on my face. You guys know this guy. He did Indiana Jones, Star Wars, John Williams, Schindler's List, all these great movies that would not even be nearly as great as they are if it weren't for his soundtrack. And I'm really interested to see, because it's a dark tone, I'm really interested to see how dark the soundtrack will be, and if it'll be a sad soundtrack, kind of like Empire was. But yeah, that's kind of why I'm interested in it,
Yeah.
is for the return and see what they're going to do.
I mean, hopefully Disney can actually kind of pick it back up a little bit and start getting some better quality of movie there, because I don't know, I actually would like to get into the Star Wars universe and actually enjoy it, or at least the new movies. But if they keep like repeating what they did with Episode 7 and Rogue One, I'm gonna find that very hard to do. So hopefully this new director kind of brings it back. And
what are you want? I'm just curious. What are you wanting them to do differently?
I don't know,
Is there
just kind of
something?
like mostly their pacing. Honestly, has been part of the problem.
Yeah.
Like Episode 7, I felt was like extremely fast paced. You didn't really get to know any of the characters; they were just kind of there. Rogue One, like you said, that first hour was just too slow. Hated that. And I don't know. Yeah, it's like a lot of pacing and story issues. In all honesty,
Uh-huh.
their like actual CGI is great. I like that. The
Oh yeah.
soundtrack, like you said, is pretty good. So those aspects I'm fine with. It's like mostly their story and their pacing just absolutely drives me nuts, and it's just, I can't say that. It's like the original Star Wars movies were able to at least keep me intrigued to stay up through the whole movie and actually still somewhat enjoy it. Just not enough to become like a super nerd over it and like only or not. I don't want to like offend anyone, but not become like super
Yeah.
addicted to Star Wars. It's kind of one of those things where it's like I watch it once and I enjoy it and I'm like, all right, cool. But now it's like I can't even enjoy it anymore. It's just kind of like, oh, it's there. They're just making money off of it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say on that?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, so let's go and move on to our next segment, which is just a recently watched movie. So basically, we're just gonna talk about a movie we watched recently and say what we thought about it. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I could go ahead and go first.
All right.
The last movie that I saw in theaters was yeah, Fast and Furious 8 was or Fate of the Furious was the last one that I had seen. I liked it. A lot of people like it, kind of like how Star Wars is. It's really split. You either don't like it or you do. A lot of my friends liked it. I liked it just because I guess they're kind of going back to what it should be. I don't know. I felt like it was better than 6, or whatever the last one with Paul Walker wasn't. So if you kind of get what I'm saying there, either it wasn't 6 or wasn't 7. I don't know. I just know it was better than what they've been doing with it, and I kind of like this whole switch up of, oh, they're betraying each other, and oh shit, what's happening. But I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, like I said earlier, I feel like it's just kind of getting out of hand at this point. And it's one of those things where it's like you should just end it now before it gets too ridiculous and you can't
Yeah,
control it.
and I'm surprised it made as much as it did. It surpassed. Well, and there's a story behind that, but it surpassed, for as big as Star Wars Episode 7 was, just because of the hype of it. It surpassed Star Wars by a few million, like a couple 10 million or something opening weekend. But the story behind that one was they opened in China and all the Asian countries, and the Asians aren't particularly fond of Star Wars, and they didn't even release in those Asian countries opening weekend. So I believe Star Wars is still on top. But going back to it, I'm surprised it made as much money as it did.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that great of a movie, but I felt like it was fun. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's like you'd watch for the action and just kind of be like, all right, that was fun, and then like never really watch it again.
And kind of going back to Star Wars a little bit, I feel like that's what it's turning into, and I don't like that. Is that they're just more focused on action, the 10 minutes of action scenes or whatever, however long it is in the movies. That's all they really care about. They don't care about anything else. And that is what I don't like. Just throwing in a couple Easter eggs and then saying, oh, this is a cool movie. That's not going to fly. That's just ridiculous. It's poor storytelling.
That is very. So, yeah, well, let's see. A movie I watched recently, I didn't go to theaters for it. I just watched it on DVD. But it was definitely worth it. Was Split by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
I did an entire movie review on this. I think it actually gets uploaded before this podcast. I don't remember. But I go in more depth on it there. I have a non-spoiler and a spoiler section for it, so if you want to go check it out, go check it out. I'll have a link to that in the description if you want to see it. But yeah, so it was a pretty fun movie. I myself do not like M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, as he has been referred to multiple times. But I'm not a huge fan of his work half the time. Like The Happening was just so weird. I don't know. But this movie was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. And I felt that it was actually more of what a horror movie is supposed to be than what most horror movies are today. Because it wasn't like filled with jump scares. It just kept you like on edge, like it kind of made your skin crawl and kept you on the edge of your seat, kind of like, oh my god, this is just, like freaky, one of those type of deals, rather than just kind of like making you jump for a second and then like calming back down. I hate it when horror movies do that and then classify themselves as horror. Like, that's not horror. You're freaking someone out for a second by making them jump and then just kind of carrying on. That's not what a horror movie is supposed to do. A horror movie is supposed to leave you scared. And I feel that M. Night Shyamalan actually did a pretty good job in Split. The freaking Kevin and all the personalities were just creepy, and it really did just make your skin crawl. Like, it was Oh, so much. It was so good. I enjoyed it. Granted, the teenagers were like your typical horror movie uh little
Stupid.
teenage girls, except one of them. One of them was
Yeah.
still smart, and I
No,
liked that.
one
I
of them
liked that
was.
they still had her. That was
Yeah.
great. So, but other than that, I mean, like I said, it was a really great movie. I did have a few flaws with it, which I pointed out in the video. Um, but yeah, overall, it was a good movie. Definitely worth watching. I don't know if I would have actually gone to theaters for it, but I mean, yeah, getting on Blu-ray was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a good addition to this horror genre, and I think that you hit it right on the dot. To me, the reason why I don't like a lot of modern horror movies is because, like you said, their idea of horror is getting you scared for a second, and that's it. That's one problem that I have with it. For me, I love the suspense that you hold on to the entire 2 hours of the movie.
Hmm.
Keep being scared the entire movie is what a horror movie is, not just for 1 second every like 10 minutes.
Hmm.
And it kind of, I don't know. For me, I enjoy more suspense movies. Like I had seen the Cloverfield Lane reboot. I thought it was really good. Obviously, up until the end, the
Hmm.
end was just trash. That could have been executed so much better. But I personally, if you would have cut out the last 10 minutes with the aliens and crap, I would have just been like, "This is a freaking amazing movie," because I love the way that they built it up. Things
Hmm.
didn't seem as they were, and that's what I liked about the movie. If you cut out the aliens part at the end, I would have probably given it like 8.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's why I like said I liked all of those horror movies a while ago. Like earlier in the podcast, I was talking about like Saw and Resident Evil, all that. Like movies in the early 2000s and earlier. Those were the good horror movies. Like Saw kept me on edge the whole time. Resident Evil,
Yeah,
even like they did have a few jump scares in there, but their atmosphere was just intimidating enough to always like kind of keep you slightly terrified. And oh, it was just so much fun. And I remember like watching all of them. I know as a kid, which was kind of weird. I was like 8 or 9. My friend would always make me watch them. But oh my god, I don't know. For some reason, like just that feeling of being scared like the whole time during a movie is so much more fun. Because then you like walk away from it and you're like, oh, I'm just in real life. But you still kind of have like that feeling left over from watching the movie, and it's I don't know, it's just kind of like an adrenaline rush almost. It's so
yeah.
much fun. So I love those types of horror movies. They're so good. Anyways, I think that's all we have for that section. So let's go ahead and move on to our second to last one really quick. And that's basically just any movie that David or I want to mention. We'll just basically talk about it and say whatever we want about it really quick. So he went first in the last segment, so I think I'll go first in this one. And I want to talk about the World of Warcraft movie. This pissed me off. I was like, I was so excited for this. Like, I don't play World of Warcraft. I played EverQuest 2 for a while, which is kind of similar. I know, probably just pissed off a lot of more nerds right there. But I was actually really excited for this movie because I'm like, oh my god, there might actually be a decent fantasy movie based off a video game. Oh my god, how wrong I was after watching that movie. It was, oh, don't get me wrong.
Oh my
CGI
god.
and battle scenes, amazing. Problem with the story or with the movie, there's no story.
Sorry, there
There's
is nothing
no
there.
story. It's like I don't know, it's like they tried to combine like 20 different stories into one movie,
Oh my
and it's
god.
like they introduce all these different characters and you get to learn their name. That's about it. You don't find anything out about the characters, you don't get close to them at all, and you watch them die. And it's like, well, I feel nothing because I
I
don't know who
still
they
feel
were.
bad at all.
Once
Oh,
again, terrific CGI and battle scenes, but everything else was crap.
no,
Like,
I hadn't played Warcraft since the old day, like back in 07, 08.
hmm
My dad used to play it in the very like early years, like was it in the early 2000s almost. My
okay.
dad used to play all the time back when it was not even what it is now. And we're like, oh shoot, okay, well we kind of get an idea of what it is now, and we were like, what in the bloody hell is this garbage?
Yeah.
Like like you said, fight scenes, okay, cool, but it was
It was only enough to
it
keep you
was so
intrigued
bad.
for like
I
5 minutes, and then
it
you're
was
just like,
so
I
bad.
don't
It
care.
was
I don't
bad.
care. Just end. End movie. No.
It was. I mean, and I see what they were trying to do. They were trying
hmm
to make it like the game. I get that,
But
But
it's like you can't take an
you can't do
MMO
that because
and convert it
a
straight
game is
into a movie. You
a
need to
game
add
has
story.
different expectations, or people have different expectations from a game than from a movie. From those type of games, people do want a story, but they don't care about the backstories of the characters unless it pertains to you, getting an award or something or completing the actual story. That's why a lot of people don't like side quests in video games, because they're long, tedious, and the rewards are usually crap. So likewise with World of Warcraft and most MMORPGs is that you can't put that into a movie, because if you use that formula in a movie as, okay, well, you meet this guy and 10 minutes later he dies.
Yep.
Okay. Am I supposed to feel sympathy for him? Like,
yeah, not at all. No.
I do not know. Honestly, I just saw them as almost like people in the background that was so bad.
And I
Like, I
feel
didn't
like
even.
they didn't even touch that much on magic either. It's like you think World of Warcraft, like, oh, they're gonna have crap tons of magic on top of all this, like, normal hand-to-hand combat and whatever. But no, all you really ever see is a teleportation spell and then like necromancy. That's it.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it was just
And then it's like my friend's mom, Josh's mom, actually. She is a huge World of Warcraft fan. She said she loved it, and I don't know if I can face that woman again.
I think it was for her mostly. It's because of the title, and also because it's somewhat familiar. I don't know.
But
That's how
still, even then, like, if I watched one of my favorite games get turned into a movie, and it turned out as crappy as that, I would still hate the movie. Like, I don't care. If it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie. I don't care if it has the same title as one of my favorite video games.
Really quick before I move on to mine, what do you think of the new Blade Runner?
Blade Runner, I haven't really seen or heard anything about it. I don't think I've actually seen any of the old ones either. I'd have to do my research on that, but
yeah, I have no clue. There's a lot of people hyping it up around me, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this. But anyway, on to mine. I already mentioned this movie like 2 minutes ago, but I'm gonna talk about why I hated it. Or hated the ending at least, is Cloverfield Lane. It was such a good movie. Everything was good. You have her, she's in a fight with her husband. She leaves their ring. She goes in the middle of the night, she's driving, she gets hit by a car or a truck, whatever, and then she wakes up, in her little cell, and the guy says he saved her, but a lot of us kind of figure, okay, well, he probably did it to her. And then she finds, a buddy there that she's trying to figure out what's going on, and you don't really know for a fact if it's like aliens or what. It's pretty cool, actually. You don't know what it is up until the very end, and that's what I like. They focus more on the characters rather than what the outcome is. Kind of like what I was talking about with zombies, is that I don't care what is happening, like why things are happening. I want to care what's happening to the characters and what they're going to do about it, how they're going to solve it. That's what's interesting to me. I could care less about how it started. I mean, that's cool. Mention it for a minute so I can get some context, but you don't need to focus the whole movie on that. And that's what I liked about Cloverfield. However, when it came to the end, oh my God, have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Actually, I didn't hear anything about it until just now, and it looks
okay.
cool.
I'm just going to go ahead and, say it.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. I'll probably forget.
And most people have probably seen it, but so she gets out, she finally escapes after all these failed escape attempts, after finally pretty much killing the guy by burning him in acid, which was pretty cool. The way she did that was pretty cool, but she burned him in acid, escaped his little safe house, gets out in the middle of the field, gets in a car to try and escape, and then all of a sudden this alien ship just comes swarming around, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, I know what the original one was about. It was just the way that they did it. He's coming around, he's spraying gas, which I assume would be to just, kill the human race or whatever, or kill whatever's left there. She's in the car, and then there's this big worm thing that comes down, tries to pull her out of the car. She gets a wine bottle and pretty much shoots something explosive from the wine. I don't even remember how it goes, but she gets like a wine bottle, shoots it into the thing, and he dies. or the monster dies, whatever, and the ship crashes or something. I don't remember. It blows up.
Oh my
Then
god.
she drives in the middle of the highway and she turns on the radio because there's obviously going to be radio stations when the whole human race is dead. And then she just happens upon this radio station that's like, we need help. We need help in this part of the city or whatever. But then she turns to another radio station and it's like, we need help in this city. So basically she's torn on which city to go to. And then she goes towards one city, and then the last shot of the movie pans out of her driving towards one city, and that is it.
Wow.
That's literally it. And my friends and I were on a trip to Texas. It was a high school trip, like a small group. There's maybe 20 of us, and there was about me and 4 other friends who were like, "Oh, let's see this movie. That looks good." And we're like, "Okay." So we see it. We're all hyped up, and then the last 10 minutes, we're like, "Why?" It was just so bad. Like, everything was so set for it. And her dialogue, or not her dialogue, her character totally changed at the end, too. She seemed like a totally different person. Like, the way she was acting, she acted like she knew everything now, and she acted all brave and stuff.
Oh
And
my God.
she's acting like one of those, I don't know, those, I'm going to say it like this, those super strong female leads who know what they're doing. And I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying, but those stereotypical type of things. And it totally changed from her being scared and helpless and trying to get out to her being like, okay, I'm gonna kill all these aliens now. It's like, are you freaking kidding? And the alien ship looked like the Covenant cruiser from Halo. That's literally
God.
what it looked like. I was like, are you serious right now? It was just, I mean, if you want, I would recommend watching the movie first, stopping when she escapes, and just ending it there, and just say she escaped and got out, got home, and the guy was just lying to her the whole time. There's other parts that wouldn't make sense with that, but I just find that a much better ending.
Yep. Oh, and speaking of Halo ripoffs, I kind of wanted to say this earlier, but in my mind, Star Wars Rogue One honestly ripped off Halo Reach so hard. Like, if you think about it, it goes back to like the origin story and shows like the main characters and like the build up to the situation that happened in the first movie, and then you see all of the main characters in that build up die. It's Halo Reach all over again.
I kind of feel like that's a theme that's used a little too much.
I guess, yeah, but I've only ever seen that before in Halo Reach. I've never seen any other series do that.
Have you seen? Well, they don't necessarily die, but have you? I'm trying to think. Suicide Squad was kind of like that. They all think they're gonna die because they're fighting this impossible thing, but they triumph in the end. I mean, not everyone dies. No one maybe really dies, but it's that cliche type of we win even against insurmountable odds. There's a couple other video games that I've seen.
No, like that's not like what I'm going for. I'm saying like the setup.
No, I see what you're saying, and I totally get that.
Because Halo Reach was like the setup to Halo 1. Rogue One was the setup to Episode 4. Yeah. And it's like the exact same ending.
That really kind of clicked for me. Yeah. Now that I think about it, it's whoa.
Right, they're so similar. It's just
they're all trying to, in Halo Reach, they're all trying to deliver pretty much Cortana to
Master Chief, yeah.
Master Chief, and in Rogue One, they're trying to get the Death Star plans to deliver to the Rebellion so they can blow up the Death Star.
Exactly. It's like pretty much the same.
The way that they all die, sacrificing themselves to deliver, it's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
everyone in Halo Reach did the exact same thing. Oh, Emil had to be the saddest though. Emil or George were the two saddest deaths in that game.
I know cry. George apparently survives.
What? Oh, that's right. He shows up in Halo 5, doesn't he? I forgot about that.
That voice. Oh yeah, he shows up in Halo.
They should have just let him have that ending. That ending made me cry.
The disappointment in your voice was just so real.
Why? How could you do that though? Just let him
die.
No,
I feel like Emil's death to me was the saddest. But you didn't have any final interaction with him, which also points to George being the saddest. but I don't know.
That's true.
I didn't like how they killed Kat. They killed her just.
That was so dumb. Just one needle through the helmet. Like, what?
I
It
mean,
hasn't
you
been
get
like
needles
fully
through the
piercing my
face
armor
through
this
the
whole
entire game.
time, but one shot will kill her.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and the fact that they didn't have really any scene of them like talking about it too kind of
Yeah.
made me
They just kind of let it happen. Like,
no, but really quick before we go, there was another movie that I was really interested in just to see what it was about. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm pretty sure you have it. It was Get Out.
Not.
It's about, from what I've seen in the trailers, it's about like this black guy. He's dating a white girl, and I guess like her family are like white supremacists or something.
Oh, well,
and so they basically try to trap him and kill him, I think. And like I see KKK stuff in there. I'm like, this looks kind of interesting. I never took the time to see it because I didn't get that interested.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that looks like an interesting twist on
it.
That
does that.
Okay, I kind of want to see it now just to see what it's like. I don't know if it's on.
Okay, so for some reason, like the first list of plot keywords that I'm seeing here on IMDb for that movie, I'm seeing hypnosis and brain surgery.
What?
I don't know.
Well, I know there was a hypnosis part in the trailer. They were like trying to hypnotize him or something, but I thought it was them just trying to like torture him. That's what I thought it was.
They do have a pretty good tagline though. Just because you're invited doesn't mean you're welcome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see it now just to see what it turns out to be. Yeah, because then like in the trailer, he's like beating this guy in like some steel armor or some crap. I'm like, what the heck is this? So it looks interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll check that one out. So, yeah, I believe that's all we really got for you guys today. But before we head out, be sure to check out our short film of the month, which this time is The Most Beautiful Thing by Cameron Covell. Very great short film, very emotional and great story. Pretty good cinematography, too. I believe it was a student film. I'd have to do more research into that. I don't think it really actually makes any mention of it. But very good. Do definitely recommend watching it and go check it out. It's only 10 minutes and 43 seconds long. Very well worth the watch. I quite enjoyed it. But yeah, I think that's all we really have. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to come back again on the first Thursday of the next month to see our next podcast. Also, don't forget to check out all the links in the description, including David's channel. Go show him some love. But once again, guys, that's all we got for you. So peace out.
Bye.